Listen to my podcast about sports, about sports, about sports.
Corey.
Hell,
Corey.
sound like you're a long ways away.
Gig'em Aggies. Welcome to the tailgate, the home of Aggie football. C-Money, what's the word?
Got some new coaches to talk about. New coaches.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're going to get into it a little bit. First, I want to just say Happy New Year's to you, to the listeners, to the viewers, to the fans, to the critics. Happy New Year's to all. Man, 2024, we welcome in the 2024 year, the year of Aggie football, my friend, the year of Aggie football. This is the beginning of the greatness that this program has been seeking for a long time. 2024, baby. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Hey, today's episode brought to you by Matthews Electric. Light up your home, light up your life. And Frida Custom Homes. Everybody loves their Frida home.
Frida Homes.
There you go. Corey, let's get right into it, man. We're going to talk a little football today. We're going to talk a little football, Aggie football to start off with here. Towards the end of this show, a little bit later, we're also going to hit up the college football playoffs, first round, the results the other day, and then the matchup, which is going to decide the champion this year between Michigan and Washington. We're going to talk about that there a little bit later as well.
I can't wait for the 12-team playoff. I'm already ready for that.
This year would have been the perfect year for the 12-team playoff, if you ask me.
Yeah, we'll go into that later because I've been thinking about that, man. Just imagine the matchups right now.
So what have you been doing here in the new year so far? I'm at the beach, my friend. I'm at the beach. As I don't know if people can tell, this is not my regular setup here behind me. This is the beach condo. I would show y'all the view outside on the porch with the beach right there and the dunes and the things and the sand. But my internet sucks out here. So we're doing it inside. And this is the beach place. This is what I'm doing in the new year. Not getting much of anything done, to be honest with you. I've been pretty much a bum, as you would imagine, while here on the beach. What have you been up to?
Well, I'm a father of 3 little kids, a 4, 7, and 9-year-old. So been pretty much with them. Together Christmas presents, going to see family, working. Nothing exciting. Watching football, a lot of football.
So you've definitely been a lot more busy than I have. Somebody that's been busy also is Mr. Mike Elko. Mike Elko been busy. He's been filling out a football staff. And he's added another piece to this football staff. He's added the wide receivers coach for Alabama. And some folks might be saying, hey, well, Alabama this year wasn't exactly, high flying or whatever. But this is the same guy that has coached over the years folks like Devontae Smith, who won a Heisman, Jamison Williams, who was absolutely unstoppable, Jalen Waddle, Jerry Jeudy. He has had some incredible talent over there and has done incredible things with this talent. So, the fact that this year their offensive coordinator's offense sucked doesn't mean that this guy did a bad job. I actually thought that their receivers got, better as the year went along. They made some plays at times. I like I really like this hire, Corey. What do you think? What do you think about this specific hire?
I like the hire. Anybody you get from Alabama, a winning tradition. A lot of people wanted this guy. He hasn't left Alabama. I'm not sure how long he's been there, but he's been there quite a while. And he wouldn't leave, and he left to come to A&M. That means a lot. Um, he's worked with a lot of pro players, and hopefully he can make our receivers that much better, and we can get some better players in.
Yeah, I love this hire. I really do. I think this may be, aside from Colin Klein, obviously at offensive coordinator, this could be the biggest hire Elko has made so far. And the reason I say that is that exactly what you just brought up. It's because he's coming from Alabama. It's because he spent multiple years with Nick Saban there. And we're speaking specifically of Coach Hallman Wiggins.
Yeah.
And I think you know very well how I feel about Nick Saban. I think he's the greatest coach in the game. Right now, maybe Kirby Smart gives him a run. But even as long as he's been doing it, right? He's been through different eras of college football. And
Right.
No matter what, he's always at the top. He's always at or near the top. And to me, what he did this year, people are going to say, well, he lost, whatever. He didn't win a national championship. What he
Did you
did
see that team beginning of the season?
with what they had to replace from last year, replacing two coordinators, all the talent that they lost to the NFL, and they came back and did what they did. Unbelievable. I thought maybe his best coaching job yet was this year.
Right.
And so to me, we know the legend that is Nick Saban. And this guy, Coach Wiggins, has been with Coach Saban for quite some time. And he was given a co-offensive coordinator title, which means that Coach Saban definitely valued him.
Right.
And to me, that's a big deal. I'm excited. Not only that, he's a big time recruiter, by the way. He's a big time recruiter, which never hurts your argument, right?
What we need.
And to add to that little piece, Alabama has a 5-star wide receiver in the 2024 class that's committed to them, but did not sign in the early signing period, will sign in the February signing period. Maybe, I'm not saying this is the case, but maybe there's a chance that the guy that recruited him, Coach Higgins,
Think it'll be a flip.
Can maybe convince him that, hey, man, come on over here, and we're going to put you in a position to play. Maybe. So that'd be great.
Yep. That'd be awesome. We could use the talent.
All that to be said, I'm super excited about the coaching staff on the offensive side. We've talked about Colin Klein, right? I think he's, a huge improvement over what's been here over the last 6 years. I think he is a much bigger innovator, a much more, explosive, a much more, much better of a tactician as far as using the different things that are out there as a coordinator with motions and formations and shifts and misdirection, a lot more innovative, right? And so I think that that's already a big part of that. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the things that, we do think that he has to do, but, with him and the offensive line coach, Adam Cushing, right? Adam Cushing has to be a huge improvement over Adazio, right? This guy did some good things with some probably lesser pieces over at Duke, right?
Right.
And has got some guys that are about to go to the pros. And so to me, if you ask me, that guy's already is a step up. And then you add in Trooper Taylor, the running backs coach, who's also been named associate head coach. He's a guy that comes in and once again, has a good reputation. I like this group of coaches that they put together for the offensive staff. I really do. I'm excited, super excited about this offense. What do you think?
You're probably a little bit more excited than I am. I like the Colin Klein. I like the hire there, but I mean, it's all wait and see. I'm nervous about putting Connor in the kind of system that I saw at Kansas State, about running around a lot, possibly getting hurt coming off an injury. But I feel better about if he does get hurt because I saw the backups play. I like what I saw in them, but I just want to see how he manages the talent we have. I want to see how the offensive line coach develops what we think is a talented group, but how does he make them get in their head to say, y'all don't suck. You're better than what you did last year, but we have to fix it. They almost had to break them down and start at ground zero with those guys because it seems like everything they learned while Dazio was here was not the right thing. So that's my opinion on the offense is just kind of wait and see. I want to see what Klein does with the talent we do have, the talent that's coming in. I'm not sure. I mean, we had great tight ends. I think we have talent at receiver. I'm not as high on as you are. I mean, I like the running backs a lot. I like the quarterback. I mean, it's all going to come back to that offensive line. Though, if they
Let me
can't
tell you
block,
this.
they're going to be on their ass.
I'm gonna give you my first bold prediction of 2024. First bold prediction of 2024. You ready?
Sure.
I want everybody to listen. Everybody pay attention and call me out on it later if it doesn't come true, because listen, I always am right. Bold prediction number 1, 2024. Texas A&M offense in the 2024 year will be a top 10 unit in the country. Top 10 in the country.
When you say top 10, is that like top 10 scoring, top 10 passing, top 10 rushing? What is that?
The only
total
thing that
yards?
matters is scores.
Okay, so there'll be a top 10 scoring program.
Top 10 scoring offense. You could probably, I'd also probably put it in as a top 10 yardage, in yards.
To be in the top 10, you got to average close to 40 points a game.
Yep. Top 10 offense in the country. And let me give you the reasons I think this is the case. I love our skill position guys.
Dude, you loved them last year. You loved them the year before that.
Yeah, but going into last year,
the problem is, Alejo, if we don't fix the same problem we've had,
our system
we don't fix
sucks.
the same problems.
Adazio sucks.
In the face.
System Adazio sucks.
You're putting a bunch of players that have been there for 2 years, 3 years. What is it? You can't teach an old dog new tricks? Can you teach these dogs new tricks?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
How many examples do you need of teams that switch coaches and are completely different the next year? It happens.
It happens all the time, but we're talking about a big group, and that's that offensive line. If that offensive line's strong, the sky's the limit. I mean, it could have been that way this year. All we needed was offensive line. I don't give a damn about anything else. I don't think our quarterbacks would have gotten hurt.
When I showed up at Willow Ridge, there was a team that was one win the year before. My sister is crawling in the background.
I see that.
Crawling.
Is she looking for something, or is she trying to hide?
I don't know what she's trying to hide there exactly.
That was funny.
Yeah. So, like when we showed up at Willow Ridge, man, that team was horrible. The offensive line was horrible. they won one game in like the prior 2-3 years or whatever. I mean, it was the epitome of garbage football.
Yeah.
And that year we ended up in the playoffs. And one of the big reasons is that offensive line ended up being a pretty productive offensive line. I'm not trying to say that I'm a Superman when it comes to offensive line coaches, but I'm kind of that guy. I'm a guru, right? And
I guess.
And all it took was a change in coaching staffs to get from garbage to good. And
same players.
And
I mean, that's what we have coming back, right? We have the same players coming back.
And
we've had for last year, the year before that. I mean, Newberry's back. Zune is back. Foster's back. Fothery's back. Who else? Basantes, who played this year, is back. Who's the other one? Crownover's back. Who else did you say? Aggie?
Aggie's back.
He's back.
Hey, look.
So, I mean,
the point being is that when it comes to offensive line, it's all about coaching. It's all about coaching. Yep. This group is super talented, by the way. It's a super talented group of players that have been highly recruited and sought after from people all over the country. It is not a lack of athletic ability. It is not a lack of size. It is not a lack of the ability to move your feet or the fact that they don't have the mental capacity. These guys are extremely skilled, extremely athletic, extremely smart guys, and they just need somebody to provide them with some direction in order to make them a cohesive unit and a productive unit. I think we are going to be much better at the offensive line. Does that mean we're going to be the best offensive line in the country? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if this offensive line is even good, the skilled players on this team will shine. And I believe this offensive line is going to be good.
Okay. So you're saying these guys are smart, they're mentally tough, or whatever you're saying about them. How have they been so bad the last couple? I understand the coaching wasn't right. Why couldn't these guys step up and say, Coach, this isn't working? Why couldn't they don't have the wherewithal to come up and say, hey, that's not my job. We're just going to continue to suck. How is it that Foster and Robinson, I know he's gone to the pros, they can snap the ball and just stand there and not block a thing? Is that what the coaches told them? Said, hey, don't touch anyone. Don't touch anybody. And they did. They would. They did a great job of that. And that's what the coaches told them. That's what I'm saying.
Here's the thing. All the players can do is follow through on what they're being taught. That's it.
I don't think they were following through.
Oh, they were. What they were being taught was wrong. That's it. Period.
I don't know
that. You know, and especially because of the fact that you look at a lot of the plays that they have problems with, you know, it's identification, right? It's using your eyes. That's not a physical liability. That's a mental liability of the fact that somebody's setting you up for failure. But not only that, you go look at their footwork, and their footwork is being taught in a way that's setting them up for failure as well. And
that's what I'm saying. So they've been taught that. How hard is it to fix that?
Easy, baby. Repetition.
Easy.
Over and over and over again.
But that's what they've been doing. They've been doing it wrong for so long is my
point.
Matter.
Does not matter.
The old dog, new tricks. That's the problem.
Does not matter. I've been a part of it. I've seen it in other places.
I want to be on your side on this, but if that offensive line, I'll tell you right now, it doesn't matter how good our skill position players are. If that offensive line is below average or even average, it's going to be a long season again.
If this offensive line's average, we're scoring 35 a game, so it's not that bad.
Well, shit, we scored almost 30-something a game this year.
Well, so there you go. That's not even that much.
So what, you want to have the same results as last year? We score like 30? You just said 40 a little while ago, by the way. You said 40, top 10 offense.
I said they will be, and they will be, because this offensive line is going to be better than average. That's what I'm telling you.
Well, I'm just saying, if you don't have a good offensive line, you don't have a good offense. I don't care who you are, where you're at.
Look,
that's it.
Here's the thing. You can either believe me or you can't. You can either believe me or you can't. But in the fall,
I'd like to believe you.
In the fall,
what I've seen,
you're going to see it.
What I have seen, it's not been, oh, this offensive line looks great. How many games this year did the offensive line look great in? Great.
None. None.
I'm just saying they didn't look
None.
great. I mean, every person had like somebody would have like a good game, but the person beside them would have a terrible game.
Corey. You're just being contrarian at this point, but that's
I'm
fine.
not being contrarian. I'm just saying
Look,
our offense is not going to be any good no matter who you put at skill positions. You can put Jamar Chase at wide receiver and Jefferson at wide receiver and have that same offensive line.
The LSU offense of 2019 will disagree with you, by the way.
The only person that could have saved this offense last year was Jalen Daniels because he would have ran all around the fucking offensive line and done whatever the hell he does. That's the kind of guy we needed.
This year, we won't need that. This year,
I hope not.
our offensive line is going to be good.
I'm not even sure how good LSU's offensive line was. Jalen Daniels did everything.
And here's the thing. Look, at the end of the day, even with an average offensive line, with the skill position players that we have and the scheme that we're going to implement, you can still make up for some deficiencies there. I'm telling you right now, this offensive line is going to be better. I'm telling you right now that is just a fact. That is a fact. Don't ask the question of whether that's true or not. It is true. Don't even wonder.
It's not true because you got to wait and see.
Don't even wonder.
You got to wonder.
No. As a matter of fact, base all your decisions on where you're going to put your money over the next couple of months on the fact that offensive line is going to be better. Just know that.
If that offensive line's, like I said, if they're good, the team will be great. The defense, they're worried about. I'm not worried about the defense.
The skill position guys that we're talking about too. Look, what do we need? We need some depth at wide receiver, but it's not like we don't have top end talent at wide receiver. I'm going to start with Moose Muhammad because I think that dude has the potential to be one of the best wide receivers in the country. Best wide receivers in the country. The guy has.
We've been saying that for 2 or 3 years, though.
Yes, under a crappy system with a coach that didn't like him. So we can say it all we want to. As long as Coach Fisher is not willing to put him on the freaking football field, he ain't going to do what he has to do. But I believe the guy talent-wise, and when you give him the opportunity, which I think he's going to get this year, that opportunity, when he has that opportunity, he makes plays. And to me, he makes plays that are as good as any other receiver in the country this year. We've watched some really good ones this year. Malik Neighbors, Thomas over at LSU, the guys over at Washington, right? Those guys were great the other night.
Texas had some good wide receivers too, Worthy and
and so you see these difference-making wide receivers out there. The best offenses have them. I think Moose is one of those guys. And that's because I've seen him do it every time he's had a chance.
Okay, who was the best receiver in the nation this year you watched play?
Ooh, I don't know, man. I mean,
the guy from Missouri is who I'm thinking of.
Neighbors is up there. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Burden or whatever his name. What's his name?
Yeah.
Well, Missouri found ways to get him the ball. That's something A&M has not done. I mean, Missouri found different ways to get him in the game, get him a rhythm, get him going. That guy, he was incredible.
Look, he's going to be a first-round draft pick this coming year, right?
No, he's not.
Luther Burden. And that dude
he's not going to be a first-round pick.
Yeah, he will be.
I'll bet you right now. I'll bet you money he will not be a first-round pick.
Done. What do you want to bet?
He'll probably be like this. He won't be a top 5 receiver off the board.
I'll bet you my truck versus one of your rental properties. How about that?
How about your truck against my car?
Not a chance.
Fair trade.
Look, Luther Burden's going to be a first-round draft pick because that dude is unreal. But neither here nor there. He's one of those guys, and he's coming back. Look, Moose has the chance to do that. He's, if he gets the opportunities. But I'm not just excited about one guy here. Moose is good. I think Thomas has got a skill set, a physical skill set that is hard to find, right? He's a 6'5" athletic guy. We've talked about it before. He's got to be a little bit more physical, those types of things, and hopefully another year in the system under Moffitt as the strength conditioning coach. Maybe that guy can put on a little bit more muscle, a little bit more mass, maybe get a little more physical out there on the outside. But I love his skill set, and it's a skill set that you can't just teach, right?
Right.
You can't teach 6'5", man, right?
Right.
Add to that Ja'Day Walker. Who I mean, you said it. You said it. What he did in the bowl game.
Oh, it looked great.
Unbelievable, right? Great.
I mean, he had a couple moments this season where he had some drops, but for the most part, I think he was better than what I expected.
Mike Tees, speedster,
Yeah.
young guy, has an opportunity to grow within that system now. Maybe a guy that could get into the slot, some of that Anais stuff that was going on there, right? But he's a guy that's going to increase his visibility over the next year. And then I think that's the one big thing that this team probably has to do over, this coaching staff has to do over the next couple months is maybe bring in another guy, right? Another guy that's going to allow you to get him on the field and get some reps,
No, I think we had another player would be great, but I think with our tight ends and with our backs there, I mean, you're talking about Green and Platt and Owens and Daniels. That's a lot of balls to go around because those guys right there, if they can, Platt and Green can keep the middle of the field. That's something I didn't see our tight ends do this year. Was the middle of the field like I thought they would. They seemed like they were more out routes or around the sidelines. We didn't open up I don't think they did any favors for the wide receivers.
Yeah.
Keeping that middle of the field open. But Owens, I like
I
him
love
coming out of the
exactly what you
backfield.
said there. And I think those two guys, specifically Green and Platt, give you so much diversity in what you can do offensively because both of those guys, Green was a blocker a year ago as a freshman, right? He was a guy that got in it a little bit, right? Much better blocker than Jake Johnson, right? And he's also an athletic guy that can go out and make plays in the open field too. So between those two guys, they give you so much flexibility in order to do all the different things that you want to do without having to change personnel at that, right? I mean, you can go into a tight formation or then all of a sudden bring them out wide with a 4-wide look with those two guys out there. You can use them as blockers in the screen game. You can use them as blockers in the run game. You can use them as receivers in the screen game for that matter, right? I think they give you position versatility, which is a key thing for big-time offenses, right? Offenses that really do a lot of different things. That's huge, them two. And then the other guy that you mentioned, Owens, I think he's a guy that has an opportunity that you can use in the slot. You can put him in there with Moss in the backfield, also have him take some reps at receiver and do some things because he's got that set of skills as well, right? I mean, he's a guy that can catch the football down the field, create some open, some mismatches and some matchups up there. So those types of players, and now give Colin Klein the ability to be as creative as he wants to be.
No, I like it. I like what you're saying.
So, and honestly, a key guy, I think, is still Le'Veon Moss. I think Le'Veon Moss is still a key guy because he started to show you this year that he has the potential to be one of those 20 carry type backs, right? One of those bell cow
bruiser. He can run between the tackles.
Makes the defense feel a little bit more timid in the fourth quarter about tackling folks type of guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the way I see it, he's a piece there that's unlike any of the others. He's unlike any of the others. And maybe, I don't know, maybe Owens comes back next year after a year in the weight room and looks like he could be that guy. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe. We'll
but
see.
if not, Moss is kind of that one guy, right?
Yeah, I agree. Moss is the bruiser. I think Owens could be that guy, like you said, but Daniels, I don't think he'll ever be that bruising back. He'll be the quick little change of pace. But I mean, like I said, man, I'm excited about the skill position players I was last year. I don't think the skill position players have been the question at all. I think it's been play calling's been terrible.
That's my point.
I think, yeah, that's been terrible. And overall production that you get out of the offensive line has been just awful. I mean, you can tell by the quarterbacks getting hurt. Just watching the games. I mean, it makes you nauseous watching these guys not even try to block.
Yeah, so we've talked about. Look, obviously, there's no question. There's no hiding it that offensive line is going to be huge, and what they do offensive line wise is going to be huge, and the coaching staff there. Look, that's 100%. I think the other things, we talked about Le'Veon Moss. I think him being a part of this team is gonna make a difference. Is he going to be the difference maker? No, but he makes a difference.
Right.
Obviously, the other critical part is Colin Klein, right? I mean, in his play calling, the quarterback play. Look, we feel really good about Connor Wigman. We love
Right.
Connor Wigman, man. I think he is a special type of playmaker. He is a guy that has an incredible anticipation and vision of the football field. You know, of even with Jimbo's sorry ass play calling, that dude was making plays that nobody else was making because he got rid of the ball before anybody ever saw the guy come open. And to me, that is a special skill set that is uncommon in the college game. And hell, it's uncommon in the pro game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love me some Connor Wigman. So now the question becomes, can Klein adapt his system where it's much more quarterback run oriented and say, okay, we don't have to get rid of a lot of the scheme stuff. We don't have to get rid of the misdirection and the formations and all those things. We can just, adjustments. So what does that mean? It means that you don't necessarily have, the constant quarterback run, the power and all that stuff, and run them 10 times a game. Instead, maybe you do a little bit more RPO where he's seeing it and reading it and then and trying to get the ball out, right? Things like that. And I think Colin Klein can do that. And I think using that skill set is going to be important for this offense. Connor Wigman has to be a passer in this offense, a distributor in this offense, right?
Compared to what, like a running back?
Yes.
I know what a quarterback's supposed to do is distribute.
As compared to the running back.
Yeah. We see him running the ball too much. What was his injury he had? What did he have hurt this year? With a leg?
And it was off the sack and all that stuff, when he got hit. But
yeah.
But my point is, and he was getting absolutely slaughtered every game. I mean, the injury just happened to happen that one hit, but he was getting.
Yeah, it was happening sooner or later. Same thing happened to Max. Same thing happened. Henderson.
So I do think, that Connors is going to be your starter in 2024. I think he's going to have a monster year, clearly, since I'm saying that that's going to be a top 10 offense. I'm going to tell you the other thing is that I love what I saw out of Marcel Reed, and I love what I saw of Jalen Henderson too. But I think Marcel Reed's got a little something. He's got a little it. He's got a little bit of it. And not only that, but he has also kind of another bit of a gear, right? Like
that run he made around the corner was quick. That little sweep, I don't know what it was. It was fast.
And so with the idea that Connor's your guy this year, I'm still getting Marcel Reed's my backup, and I'm still getting him some reps in some of these games because I want to make sure that he understands I'm gonna hand him the reins the year after, and we're gonna open this thing up with quarterback runs. We're gonna do the whole shebang, everything, right? And
you're saying Jalen Henderson's probably going to transfer out.
I want to keep him around. Yeah, I don't want him transferring. I want to keep him around. I want to make sure that he knows.
Henderson?
Huh?
Why would Henderson stay? You said you got Connor, then you got a guy a year younger than him. It's going to be the starter. I want some playing time, baby. I want to get on the field.
Yeah, hey, we may lose Henderson. You're right. We may lose Henderson. And if that happens, it happens. But I want to keep Marcel Reed. That's who I want to keep.
Gotcha.
Love what I saw from Henderson. I did. But
too. He scares me a little bit when he throws the ball. He puts it up for grabs. He gives his guy a chance, but he puts a lot of air under it.
He's aggressive with his throws at times. But like I said, there's an it factor with Reed that I don't know that you see there with Henderson, right? Like there's just a little something. I don't know exactly what it is, but you see it. You know what I mean?
I got you. Yeah.
So I like that group. I'm excited about this offense. I've said it already. I think it's going to be a top 10 offense. That's my bold prediction. Number one bold prediction of 2024. I'm sure I'm going to have about 30 or 40 more of those bold predictions. over the period of time. Here in the next couple of weeks, I'll also spend some time looking a lot more closely at Duke's offensive line play as well as the Kansas State offense, so that we can talk a little bit more in depth about sort of where this offense is going to go and some things to expect. But overall, I think the expectation is this offense is going to be pretty good. At least my expectation is going to be that this offense is pretty good. Let's move over to the other side of the ball.
Yep.
Let's move over to the other side of the ball because I think this is the area that and it's crazy because we're talking about the defensive side of the ball in a team that's going to be coached by Mike Elko, right? Mike Elko, super guru, defense guru, right? Like everything.
Right.
But his defensive hires have been a couple of guys from Florida, guy from Auburn, a secondary guy from Auburn, right? Like what makes you feel good about where this defense is going?
Elko, that's about it. I mean, that's the only thing I can say right now with all we've lost. I'm afraid our team this year, what you just said, being a top 10 offense, we're going to be a lot like LSU was this year. You take
Wouldn't
the
that be
over every
fun?
game.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Take the over every game.
Oh man, I'd love
Hey,
it.
we'll be 9-3.
I'd love it. If they did
That's
what
what we're looking. I mean, that's the path we're on right now. To be honest with you.
if they did what LSU did this year with that high flying offense and giving up a ton of points, man, I'd love it because I'd be entertained week in and week out. We'd have plenty to talk about,
Yeah. We can
it'd be
get some
great.
guys in the pros, skill position guys be going pro.
Yeah, right now I think the biggest questions defensively are: is this coaching staff any good? Okay, that's a good question. We won't find that out until week 1 of the season.
I got questions. Who's our defensive line starters? Who's our linebackers? Who's our cornerbacks? I think I know the safeties. That's about it.
Yeah, I think the other questions I have are Shamar Turner. Is Shamar sticking? He didn't play the bowl game. There's some rumors that he's contemplating NFL draft stuff. So my question is, will he stick around? And you haven't really heard the whole transfer thing, but you have heard that maybe he's considering the NFL thing, and I think he should stick around for one more year because I think he's got the potential to be an early round draft pick after this coming year. I thought he was exceptional in 2023. I think he's about to be a difference maker, like national difference maker in 2024.
Okay, let's say he's not here. Who's your starting lineman? Who do you start with?
Man, I mean, you got to think, DJ Hicks is in that mix, right? You got to put Shamar Stewart in that mix, right? You wonder which one of the other edge guys, Malik Silla and I White, one of those guys is in there. Maybe Brunlow Dindy is the other guy on the side. You still got Albert Regis in the mix, right?
Yep, big guy.
The big Samu is
Did he even play last year?
Hopefully after a year of getting physically fit, he can come in and be a contributor at least, maybe not the starting guy, but a contributor in that rotation, especially rundowns and things like that. So you've got some good options. I'd like to also see Harris, the linebacker, in some pass rush situations off the end. Let him play some defensive end there as well. So there are, like I said, there's some options there. There's talented, very, very talented options. Stewart is a guy that is potential breakout this coming year, right? Shamar Stewart has a chance to be a breakout type player this coming year with the physical ability that he brings to the game already. And, in a new system, in his 3rd year on campus now, that's when guys start to really show out, right? As juniors. And so I like the potential that he's shown. And I think this is the year when you're going to start to see some of that 5-star play come out with him specifically.
Okay, so you lose Nolan and you lose Jackson. your two top defensive tackles, right?
Yeah.
You replace them with who you said, Hicks and Bendy.
Hopefully it's Shamar Turner.
All right.
Hopefully it's
I
Shamar
thought they
Turner.
had Turner playing like more DE instead of inside. I like him inside.
I like him inside. And I
Yeah, I
think
do
with
too.
this group, I think he moves inside, right? With this group, I
Okay.
think he moves inside.
But
And
we take a step. We're taking a step back though, right? Because you lose Jackson and Nolan. It's hard to replace those two guys, right? Just talent wise.
yeah, I actually don't think that with Shamar Turner, you take a step back from either one of those two. I think Shamar Turner's as talented as either one of those guys. I think on
Okay.
DJ Hicks' side, you take a little step back because he's just still young, so young, right?
Right.
And so you
All right.
still
Then so you lose Diggs, right? Man, who was our other starting? Was Overton the starter? Who was the overstart? Scylla?
I mean, it at times.
Stewart?
At times it was Stewart. At times it was Overton. You know that one sort of moved. At time, remember it's Shamar Turner at times, right? Really.
That's what I was saying. So I mean, but you have Turner and Hicks inside starting. Which I mean, I'm fine with that. I think that's above average. That's better than
and let's assume that Overton's right in not Overton. That Brown
Overton's gone.
Ludindi is right. That Brown Ludindi is right in that rotation too, right? Brown Ludindi,
Right.
another 5-star
I'm just
guy.
talking about starters, though.
Yeah,
Who's
yeah.
your starting ends?
Huh?
Two ends. Give me two ends. Who are your best two ends?
Yeah, it's Stewart, and I think it's probably Scylla, but could be, I mean,
Okay.
in the spring he could be overtaken by, an eye wide. It could be,
Well, it doesn't really. What's the defense going to run? A 3-4 or a 4-2-5? What are we running?
Yeah, 4-2-5 is the base for Mike Elko, and then he's going to do some of the same weird stuff that.
All right, so you got two
did.
defensive ends, two interior, two linebackers. Be York and who's your second one?
Well, could be Sanford, for example. Harris, another guy that's there. So you've got some bodies, they're young though, right?
Yeah.
Is Lee back? I think Lee's back.
Russell's gone, right?
Russell, right?
Is Russell a senior? I thought he was a senior. I don't remember what year he was.
I think he may have another year of eligibility, so he may be back, right?
Okay, so you got two linebackers. I mean, I figured Russell and York will be. Russell's back. He's linebacker starting, right? I mean, it's not a great. He did all right. He got better.
I mean, I still, like I said, some of the young guys have a lot. I think have a lot of potential. I like Harris's, especially his athleticism and things. I think he's a guy that has to get into the mix somewhere. And I don't know, maybe it's a pass rushing role, which I know he can do. But maybe over the last year, that guy's also picked up a little bit more what's going to happen here at that second level.
But we're losing
down in, down out guy. Sanford is another guy that was pretty well liked coming in from last year's recruiting class. So you've got some options. It's not like there aren't guys, right? I mean,
but you're not replacing Adrian Cooper, is what you're saying, though.
I don't know that you're replacing Adrian Cooper with one guy, but who does? Nobody.
Well, I mean, we didn't know he was going to be this good this year. I mean, if you watched him play the previous years, we knew he had talent, but he really put it all together this year, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think I called it, didn't I?
Oh, Jesus. Here we go again. All right. You called it. You got one prediction out of a million, right? So, okay, now you're going to the five defensive backs, right? Bryce Anderson's got a spot, right?
Bryce Anderson, I think Matthews, those two guys are pretty much locks to be starters on this defense, as long as they're here on campus, right? I mean, nothing that indicates that either one of them is not going to be here on campus. I think if they are, they're locks.
Okay, now you're important three players. Who's the other three?
And, in reality, this is the good part. The good part is that you've got other safeties, right? You got Kerr.
Yeah, I was thinking Kerr when you said, what's his name? Go ahead.
But you've also got the young guys that played in the bowl game in, Brooks, right? Dalton Brooks. And
you know about the guys that got the
Thomas.
ball thrown all over them?
Hey, man, they're freshmen basically playing their first action in college football. Yes.
Well,
Thomas.
In the first action, I've watched him play this year a little bit.
And not to mention the fact that, look, I've detested the DB's coach at A&M for a while. So, you know, we got rid of him. That's a good thing, I guess.
You detested all the coaches.
Yeah, that's true.
But,
Thomas,
okay,
is another,
so
but Thomas is another guy, right? Another young guy that's going to get into that mix. Look, you still got McCall around. He's here. Grimes is transferring out. He's announced it. Thank goodness.
he never even played, never touched the field. What
Right.
about DeBerry?
Yeah, DeBerry's gone. DeBerry's gone.
Where'd he go?
Yeah, he entered the transfer portal too. He's see you later, buddy.
I guess we have to watch. We don't have to watch what I say about DeBerry anymore.
But look, what we do have is the transfer coming in from Kansas State, Lee, which I think is
Okay,
going to be
is he a safety or cornerback?
corner.
Okay,
That's
that's good.
going to be able to get on the field. And now, you know, but you have to now come in, and you're right. You got to figure out who that other corner is. You've got some options on the roster right now. And you still got to go be aggressive. There's a cornerback out of Georgia from Texas that just entered the transfer portal out of Georgia from Texas, a guy that University of Texas is probably going to be looking at too. But you got to go fight for that guy. Somebody better break out the NIL money or something. That's a dude that you can add to this team to make an immediate impact, right? That's the type of guy. That's the type of guy we need to be bringing in the transfer portal, not these, you know, guys. But they're looking at they're offering a bunch of dudes, right? We'll see which ones play.
What makes me nervous, what I thought we had that we would have coming in this year that we don't, is depth. We've been losing our depth the last 2 years, and we haven't really done a whole lot to replenish that. That's what makes me nervous. I mean, yeah, the starting
Especially
11
on the
that you're
defensive
talking
side of
about.
the ball, I think. Especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the defensive line, we were what, freaking
Easy.
2 or 3 deep on that. Two or three deep. Now we're maybe, I don't even know if we're 2 deep. Linebackers has been a problem. We're starting to recruit better linebackers. Secondary, I didn't think it was going to be this big of an issue 2 years ago or this year, but geez, he lost. We might get Denver Harris back, maybe. I don't know.
Hey, look, there's a talk that Denver Harris is Elko's asking about him, and so you know Elko was the guy that recruited him in the first place, right? So you know maybe there's a relationship there, maybe there's something there that you can get him back in the mix. And look, for all his faults, and he's got plenty of them, right? And he's got plenty of them. The dude is a player. There's no question whether that guy's got the talent, the physical ability to go out there and play cornerback in the big time games, right? That's not a question. The question is he here and is he here?
Right.
Does he have those two things, right?
As long as we don't see on our defensive side what I saw with Durkin a lot, and that's the passive, where we're putting young, inexperienced cornerbacks that are smallish cover these big receivers for long periods of time.
Yeah,
that drove me nuts.
Somehow not giving them any help over the top, but yet not bringing pressure either. Yeah, don't do that.
And then, I mean, just the adjustments Durkin didn't make is what. And when he made adjustments, they were the wrong ones. He'd make them. Hey, this team is gashing. It's running the ball. Well, let's keep doing that. Let's let them keep running. We're worried about App State throwing the ball.
That's look, and first of all, it should never be App State. I don't care who we have on the field and who we don't have on the field. It should never be App State, right?
Ever.
Or anybody of that ilk for that matter. But look, and that's the whole point. Look, you're right. And that's why I said earlier, I think the defense is the questionable side of the ball that we have to be careful how we put it all together. And they still have some work to do over the next couple of months and what they're in the guys that they're bringing in and making sure that they're not just bringing in depth pieces, right? Like, let me bring in this third string defensive lineman or third string linebacker or a guy, you know, another guy that Davis is another guy that left again from another transfer that came in last year, didn't play much at all at linebacker, and he's gone, right?
Which one did he transfer from? Did he transfer from the small school?
Yeah, he was the guy that came from Deion Sanders' school.
Yeah, okay.
And so that, you know, that kind of guy is not who we're looking for. We're looking for a couple of immediate, big time come shore up a spot kind of guy, right? At corner,
Yeah.
maybe at linebacker, right? And it doesn't have to be a lot of those guys, but just one or two
Right.
to shore up what we have, and then we've got some other pieces. We've got some depth and some guys that we want to get some experience with and give a chance to. So, and they've got all spring, and they've got the new conditioning coach because they have to be better, right? The strength and conditioning coach has to do a better job and all those things. I'm worried about this defense. Clearly, I'm telling you that.
I'm worried about the offensive line, but
having said that, I mean, it's not something that can't be overcome. And to be honest with you, what this group of coaches do is going to have a big part of that. And so we'll see. But like I said, if we end up being 2023 LSU, where it's a freaking, score fest every game, man, I'm going to love that. I'm going to love that.
pulling
Whatever.
your hair out, going crazy. You'll love it for like the first 2 games until we start losing. Then you'll get pissed and fire Elko, fire Klein, fire Calvin Klein can't coach.
Just don't lose to the D2 schools. I mean, and that's a big. You lose to any one of those non-Power 5 type schools, then just go ahead and fire Elko right off the bat because he needs to go.
All right. Well, hey, I'm gonna change the subject real quick.
All right.
I pulled it up while you were talking earlier.
I talked a lot.
Yeah. If there was a 12-team playoffs this year, this is the matchups. The first 4 teams will get all buys. So Alabama, Texas,
Washington.
Michigan, and Washington would all have buys.
Yeah.
Okay. The number 5 seed would be Florida State.
Yeah.
They would have played Liberty.
Yeah.
So a broken down Florida State team. Now they had a bunch of opt-outs when they beat Liberty. Liberty, who got drove by Oregon,
Yes.
and Florida State, who got drove by Georgia. Who wins
Florida
that
State
game?
would have had a bunch of their players still there. Let's assume that even the backup quarterback would have still stuck around,
Okay.
and they'd have been much better. Yeah.
So Florida State with the win, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. The second matchup, the 8-9 seed, Oregon versus Missouri. Who you got? Oregon and Missouri.
That'd have been a hell of a game.
Yeah.
That'd have been a hell of a game.
Yeah. Who you got?
Probably Oregon.
Yeah, I would probably too, but I don't know. Missouri surprised the hell out of me. They beat Penn State pretty handily. All right, the next matchup would have been Georgia versus Ole Miss.
That'd have been pretty good. Clearly,
Georgia already beat them.
Georgia is winning that game. They already beat the mess out of them once this year, didn't they?
Right, and then you got Ohio State versus Penn State.
They should mix those two up so that we don't have 2 rematches.
That's what I'm saying, but still, I think you go with Ohio State, right?
Yeah, I would go.
Okay. Then here's your next one. So you got Alabama versus Florida State. Alabama, right? Is that right?
Ooh. I think so.
You taking Florida State with a backup quarterback that's going to beat Alabama?
Probably not.
I don't think so. Michigan versus Oregon. What do you think about that matchup? That's pretty good.
That's like the contrast in different skill sets and styles, man. I love that kind of game.
I do too. Now listen to this: Texas versus Georgia.
Oh.
Georgia's going to be favored in that game.
Oh yeah, and they're going to win it. So there you go.
Yeah, and then you got Washington versus Ohio State.
I'm taking Washington.
Any of these games right here, almost all of them, except for the Alabama Florida State game. That's the only one I feel like Alabama wins out.
And I think you're giving them too much credit. I think all those games are toss-ups. And honestly,
I don't think the Alabama Florida State would be because I don't think
the only team in that whole 12 group that doesn't fit in is Liberty, right? Like everybody else.
Oh yeah.
On any given Sunday, baby.
Oh yeah.
Sunday. And I love it.
I don't know about Penn State. Penn State's offense is really I couldn't stand watching their offense play.
Super limited.
They should have played Iowa. Penn State and Iowa should play each other every day.
All right, so let's talk about the teams that did make it. And let's talk about the games from the New Year's Day, right? And start with the first one, Michigan, Alabama, man. What'd you think?
Oh man, I've watched that game and I thought it was a great game. I mean, the Alabama offensive line looked like the Aggie offensive line in the first half. Milrow got sacked 5 times. I mean, Michigan's team speed was faster than I thought they were, than I was giving them credit. Because I didn't think they'd be able to catch Milrow running, and they
I
did.
like their defensive line too.
They contained him. They did a good job of containment. Um, you know, I really thought Alabama was gonna pull that game out. But
The
Michigan's
offensive
offense
coordinator
is
and the
still
offensive
Michigan's
system for
offense is
Alabama was horrible in that game. I
yeah.
really,
I mean,
I thought they
the
lost the game.
offense is the defense has dominated that game by
Yeah,
far.
yeah, yeah.
Michigan's
Alabama's
offense
defense
didn't.
played great at the end. You could tell they were tired. They got gashed a couple of times there in the fourth quarter and in overtime, right? But
Right.
I thought Alabama's offense let them down, and I thought it was a play calling issue. I thought it was a play calling issue more than anything else. I other than that, but the game was fun to watch, right? It was a great game to watch.
Oh, it was yeah. I mean, I really thought Alabama was gonna pull it out. To be
Yeah.
honest with you, the more I watched, I was like, okay, maybe. Because I mean, neither offense looked good. Michigan's offense, they surprised me with more of those little tunnel screens. I guess they throw to the running backs and even to the wide receiver. They were wide open. I couldn't believe how open they were on a couple of those, especially on the goal line, around the goal.
Yeah. No, and they did a good job of a couple of them running some pick plays type stuff and getting guys open.
Yeah.
How about the Washington Texas game, man? I really thought actually this one was a lot more entertaining, and obviously it shouldn't have been as contested at the end as it was, but it ended up being, a last play kind of game, right? Texas had a chance to win it at the end.
I can't believe Texas had a chance to win this game. I don't understand Texas coach Sark, his mindset in that game. They were running the ball. I can't remember what it said, like 5, 6 yards a carry is what they were averaging. But he insisted on throwing the ball downfield. It's like he wanted Ewers to compete with Penix.
Right.
And I don't understand that.
I think
It's
that's one of the deficiencies when you have Coach Sark, who's a quarterback guy, and he wants to throw the football.
yeah, I mean, it was just I didn't understand it. So it was a good game, especially I can't believe it got that close at the end. Like you said, but hey, we got Washington and Michigan
I'm gonna
coming
tell
up.
you the one thing I took from that game,
Big
and
game.
this the one thing I took from that game. Not one thing. Super entertaining, number one. And both of the
Yeah.
teams, look, all the credit in the world to Texas, man. They're as talented as can be. And Sark does some incredible things with some of the scheme that he does offensively. But like you said, he got a little pass happy or whatever. The thing that I took most from that game is Michael Penix and those receivers are as good as they get in college football. As good as they get. Look, their offensive line was not holding up. They could not run the football to save their lives, right? That offensive line was getting absolutely destroyed by the defensive front for Texas. Even in the passing game, Michael Penix somehow managed to kind of like just avoid some pressure here and there and just deliver the ball. And he was dropping dimes 30 yards, 35 yards, 40 yards down the field. I mean, he was on the freaking money with a guy in his face throwing. Dude, unreal. I was so impressed.
Right. Well, what do you like in the next one?
I like the over.
I hope so.
Here's the matchup. I love this matchup, right? Because once again, we're getting into these contrasting styles. It's hard to be like, oh, this, and this group against that group. I love the fact that these contrasting styles, Michigan with the power running game and the defense, and Washington with this high-flying offense. And I have a hard time believing that Washington will be able to stop the Michigan run game. I think Michigan's going to run the football pretty handily at times.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that Washington's going to be able to throw the football. I think Michigan's got a good defensive front, a really good, probably about the same as Texas, if not, whatever. But even with that same kind of group, Penix just absolutely freaking carved them up. And I believe that him and those receivers, and they've got multiple receivers, good tight ends, they got guys. I think they're going to carve them up. And this thing's going to go high scoring. I think the only thing that's going to slow it down in any way is the fact that Michigan's going to run the football, right? But when Washington's on the field, that thing's going to be I bet you this thing's going to be, I'm going to go 37-35. Some ridiculous number like
Who?
that.
Who?
I don't know. But I bet you Michigan
Which?
favored by
Okay.
more than 2.
Is the
I bet you
Washington offense that much better than the Michigan offense?
Yes.
Is the Michigan defense that much better than the Washington defense?
Yes.
I'm on side on the defense. For me, I would take the defense. I think Michigan will stop Washington more times than Washington will stop Michigan. I think it'll be a high-scoring game. I think it'll be a lot of possessions. I think it'll be a lot of 3-and-outs, but I think there'll be a lot of big plays. You know what I'm saying? I think Washington will hit a couple deep ones. I think
Spread
Michigan
by 4.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking Washington.
Well, I hope so. We already have money on Washington, Dick.
Tell the fans exactly what we're dealing with here. Prior to the season beginning,
yeah, we picked like 5 teams to go.
I think it was 4
and win the national championship. There's 5 teams were Washington, Oregon, Texas, Michigan.
We did not take
Florida
Texas.
State. Yeah, we did. Texas was in it.
We didn't take Alabama.
Yeah. We didn't take Alabama. We didn't take anybody from the SEC.
We had 3 out of the 4. We had 3 out of the 4 in the playoffs.
Yeah, and we should have had Florida State maybe. Our biggest concern was Alabama. We wanted Alabama to win the game, but they would have screwed our whole thing up.
Yeah.
But
so
that was it.
Wins,
we picked 5 teams. Yeah, we win money. We win 200 and something if Michigan wins. We win 800 and something if Washington wins. That's where we're at.
Beautiful thing.
Yep.
I'm excited for the game. If I put money on it, on top of what we already have, I'm going to go over, way over.
We've already hit that. We put money on the over. You're golden. Put it in there today.
All right, Corey, man. This is a beautiful time in college football. We're going to figure out who the champion is. And then we all get to get excited about spring ball, man. We all going to get excited about spring ball. There's going to be some player movement here and there and everything else. We're going to have to start get a, February, the signing class is done. We're going to have a pretty good picture of what this roster is actually going to look like. And spring ball, we get to see what, when all these pieces start coming together. We'll see if Connor's back on the field with this offense. We'll see if what's going on with the playmakers on that offense. We'll see what, who's participating defensively, who's not, who's taking the snaps and all those types of things. It's going to be exciting. And like I said,
find out who's on the team. We don't even know who's on the damn team yet. We still got a lot of positions to fill.
Lots. And like I said earlier, 2024 is the year of A&M football. And I'm going to tell you that. Because here's the thing. At the very least, it's going to be exciting, my friend. Like I said, offense is going to be rolling. This thing's going to at least get exciting. And
that's when the recruiting goes up.
And that's where the recruiting goes up. And that's where you got to make
the budgets. We get more money. When they start showing improvement, the owners will start giving more money. We'll get more players. So I think everybody just needs to be patient. I could see us going, I don't know, maybe 9-3 next year, just off the top of my head. And that would be I think A&M would be happy with the 9-3 record.
9-3 with a bowl win. That's a 10-win season, baby. Take it.
Hey, 9-3 might get you into a top 12.
Potentially. Never know.
Close. It's close.
Never know. Depends what
I mean,
kind
you lose another game.
Not if it's a year like this year, though. Not if it's a year like this year.
That's true.
But then again, there's no more Pac-12, so there you go. Corey, it's been fun, my friend.
All right. Well, I'll holler at you later, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Adios, amigos.
Peace out. Gig 'em. See you later, fellas. See if I can figure out how to stop this thing.